What's up, everybody?
Hello.
All right. So let's let some people come on. We got lots to talk about. Delivery day. What to expect, what not to expect. There's always something not to expect. I guess expect something that's unexpected. All right, we'll give everybody a few seconds. We can get a sound check, please, from whoever's on first. Also, when you come on, let us know where you're watching from, because we love to see that. It's actually interesting. We're not doing anything with that information. We just like to see it.
Yeah.
As simple as that. All right. 3, 4 people. Can you guys hear us? All right. I see people on there. Everybody taking a second. All right. 4 people. Why does this feel weird? There we go. Jim and Jane. Nashua, New Hampshire. Been there. Very cool. All right. Hello. Who's babysitting today? Kayla?
I think it's Kayla.
Kayla, are you back? Who's our babysitter? Is it Lisa or Kayla? Sometimes Kim. Cedar Rapids. Awesome. Very cool. Have we been to Cedar Rapids or only Des Moines?
I think just Des Moines.
I think we've only been to Des Moines,
Twice,
Riley.
yeah.
801, Steakhouse 801. Des Moines. Amazing.
Yeah.
Alfredo, awesome. Awesome. You guys can hear us okay? 8 people. I'm back. That's Kayla. Kayla, that's it. All she wrote. I'm back. I'll be back. Awesome. Welcome back. Hope you had a good time. You were missed as usual. All right. We'll give everyone a few more minutes here. We finally got decent weather in Connecticut.
Yeah. It's been a nice week.
Your favorite babysitter. That's right. Kayla, you're the best. Sound is great. Thank you, Jim. All right. All right. We'll give everyone a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
We got lots going on, lots to talk about, lots of messages, lots of questions. Some of them we can't talk about. We can't, one in particular, we're not allowed to answer that. Too racy. How's that for a teaser? But we're not going to touch that. To that individual, if you're out there, Google that.
Yes.
Okay? All right. Everyone's going to be like, what is it? What is it? We can't say. All right. This is a family show. Awesome. All right. We can give a few more minutes. We got 10 people on.
So we know this is a time where everyone is wanting their water feature for their yard for the summer. So it's always that busy time, you know, getting ready for delivery, ordering your spa or your swim spa. And so we wanted to just come on and kind of give some tips of the trade for making sure that you are ready for delivery day and you're ready for your swim spa when it comes.
Absolutely. So on this stuff, swim spa in particular, hot tub too to some extent, because it's not that, it's just a bigger version of the same thing. Cody, what's up? So, what I always want to tell people is if you've ever done a construction project, whether it was an addition or a new home build, which is a huge project, but even like a kitchen, a bathroom, I want you to be ready to expect something that's unexpected, because if you go in with that mindset and nothing is out of the ordinary, well, then you'll be like, this was ridiculous. It was such a breeze. But every install is different. Every yard slope, every installer, everything is different. So there's no hard, fast rule on exactly what's going to happen. There are some things that we always recommend that will make the day easier, but we definitely want you to understand, this is a big project. Like the day that mine went in, the deck was already built, so we had to have a crane, which is not a big deal. Everyone freaks out over a crane. There's no reason to freak out over a crane. And, they have big cranes, they have little cranes, they have medium-sized cranes, they have little pickers that can go over a fence that's not a crane. There's a way to get, one time in our career, there was a swim spa situation where we could not get it in. One single time. And it was in Oahu, and it was this one road that goes around the south end of the island, and they had to shut the whole thing down. Massive crane. It's the only road for the entire island to go from these 2 points, and it's this little water, roadway with water on both sides. And then this was a beach home. The only way to get it there is a massive helicopter. So it could be done, but it was like $25,000 for a helicopter big enough for a swim spa. It wasn't a hot tub. Hot tub could go sideways in through the gate. This was not that. One single time in 13, 14 years have I seen one that could not go in. I'm sure other dealers have a story like that, but that's mine, just one single time. But people tend to freak out on delivery day. We don't want you to come. This is not MasterSpas officially saying this is Mary and Ben. Keep it calm, and if something happens, it's okay. It will get handled. It will get taken care of. So try to enjoy the day. If it go everything, there's a lot of moving parts. And every time in my life, if I'm doing a project, a car project, any project, anything, certainly on the house, it never goes as expected. The swim spa, it actually did, but mine was sort of complicated. We had to deck around it afterwards. We didn't finish it until the swim spa was in. We had to coordinate the crane, and got, lucky that everything was like, there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of people involved. It all went great. Awesome. So, all right, we got Sue in PA. Hello. Patty in Texas. Awesome. Very cool. All right. Yeah, so we always appreciate when you guys let us know where you're watching from. It's always interesting, and there's always some neat places, and a lot of places that we've been. But so that's the whole thing on the install side. Just be flexible. Be ready to be flexible. You may not have any reason to be. It could be a simple install. Some are. They're not all complicated. That's it. Okay. So you got to also remember, every single unit is wet tested at the factory, but they're also shipped. They're on a trailer that's not known for having soft, squishy suspension. Things can rattle. Plugs can come unplugged during shipping. Freight on the road. I mean, it's days on the road, vibrating on the highway. Little plugs can come off. It's, it happens, okay? And something that seems like it's really bad could literally be a wire going, done, all fixed. So that's all. So just be ready for something and sort of laugh, and everyone, your dealer, whoever you're dealing with, the install company, the dealership, whoever, the electrician, they'll get it sorted out. And what we do really want to talk about are the things that we always see.
Right.
Because then it won't be a surprise. So that's the whole point of today, is what to expect and things that we see that are issues, a big word, but things to be prepared for, and mistakes also, okay? Let's see, Lee in Rhode Island, new 19D owner.
Awesome.
How's that 19? You having a good time with the Trainer 19 Deep, or you didn't say Challenger or Trainer? Same difference. You're enjoying that? Is it pretty nice looking? Those things are just the craziest thing we've ever built. They're so amazing, and at nighttime with the lights, it's outrageous. I didn't turn the lights on. That doesn't matter. So, all right, Charlie, Spokane, Washington. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, Mary, do you want to start with something? Or you want me to start?
So just off the top of my head, just some of the things that we always get asked about is, what do you as an owner or a purchaser need to have ready for delivery, and what to expect at delivery. So most of the MasterSpas, swim spa, hot tub dealers they don't have a contracting part of their business. Some do, and there are some exceptions to this, but most of the time they don't. So in most cases, they are just going to be delivering the product and setting it up, but they're not going to be able to touch your house because they don't have the right certifications for all of that. So what you need to have is a hard, flat foundation for the product, and in the case of a swim spa, the official recommendation from MasterSpas is a 6-inch concrete pad, reinforced, and then you are going to want to have delivery scheduled. And although it's not always, a crane is not always needed, you're going to want to the delivery crew will coordinate the crane if it is needed, and so that they're there together. And the, you know, most dealers' delivery crews have delivered many swim spas and have coordinated many trains. And so they're there, they know what to expect, they guide the crane, it all is very quick and it works out really well. And then once your swim spa or hot tub is in place, we always recommend having the electrician come after that, because the electrician needs to run the wire from your box to your hot tub or swim spa. And then once it's there, the electrician has to hook it up, because most of the time the delivery crew doesn't have a certified electrician on staff, so you will need a certified electrician to wire it. So that's why if you're paying an electrician, we usually say have the electrician come after it's delivered, and then have your electrician come, wire it, and then fill with a hose. So don't fill it before the electrician comes, because God forbid something happens and he can't make it, you have sitting water, stagnant water.
I would like to add to this,
Yep.
because it's a thing for me. Lauren is cracking mustache jokes.
Oh,
And Lee said communicating with the dealer ahead of time about what our location looked like and what access there was led to a pretty smooth delivery day, as we're able to bring the specific pieces of equipment they needed.
I would
Absolutely.
say 99% of the time,
Absolutely.
the
Absolutely.
delivery crew is going to have you send pictures and
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
video of where it's going, so that everything's smooth.
On the electrician and the water filling, doesn't matter how many times we say this, and I'll explain why. There's always someone that says, well, I did it that way, I had it filled up, the electrician came, there was no problem, so you can do it. That was your one install.
Right.
We see thousands of installs, and when there's a problem, that's a problem. So don't listen to someone who installed one on this versus someone who has seen thousands of them. Your dealer should tell you not to fill it till the electrical is done. Okay, or the electrician is there and says, I'll be done in 30 minutes, you can start filling it. That's fine, because if they get a flat tire on the way, if they ran out of parts, the wire was 1 foot short,
Right.
anything can happen. Even if they show up, until it's done, it's not done, okay? And that's just like, this is construction training. When construction, it's not done until it's done. Car mechanics, car projects, hot rods, muscle cars, dragsters, motorcycles, it's not done until it's done, okay? So just fill it with water afterwards. I know it's exciting, I know you want to get in there, but it's not really going to speed anything up, because the water still has to warm up anyway. It's not really going to change. Just wait till that and you won't have any issues, because if you do and then you have that water sitting in there stagnant, this is a 15-footer, holds 1,895 gallons. If you have to dump 1,895 gallons because you filled it too quick, and then, you know, for whatever reason the electrician couldn't get there for a week, and then you're sitting there going, geez, am I growing stuff? You are. Absolutely you are. There is a trick. If you do make that mistake, you can take a sump pump, take the hose off, put it in that water, and turn it on the entire time as a circulation pump, because it's not going to pump the water out because there's no hose on it, but it is going to circulate and move that water, and then hit it with some chlorine, and you can keep that water alive. That does work. But just trust us on this. When there's an issue, and it doesn't happen all the time, just plan on the worst, pray for the best. That is the way. Let's see. Our dealer came out to scope out our space before we prepped and then before delivery. Absolutely, Jan. That just, you know, and most dealers should, especially if there's any question, like our install managers all across the country for dealerships, they've seen a thing or two. They've seen probably damn near everything. So if you send them a video and a couple of pictures, they know, unless something really just doesn't look the way it is on the video or pictures. But if they're looking and they see something that might be an issue, they'll say, you know what, we're gonna come out, or I need you to, can you go back and do a better video of just this one specific thing? And it's super easy. I know a lot of people, really want them out there in person, but they really don't need to most of the time. So they're very good at this. They know what they're doing. Are there mistakes? There's thousands of installs a year, thousands upon thousands upon thousands. There's always going to be one person, well, I had this go on and it was terrible and you guys don't know what you're doing. That's one, all right, out of thousands, statistically unlikely, but be prepared for the worst, hope for the best, and it will always end up awesome. Lee said, the only difficulty for the electrician is how do they test their connections are all good without water in the tub. They can bump it and they can test it with testers. If there's 240 at the circuit board, then they know that the correct power is there. That's all they have to do. Anything that happens after that, once that electrical power is connected, the only thing that's left is on your dealership or service techs for the swim spa, because it would be a situation where a wire came loose or something. They're not made in heaven. They're made in Fort Wayne. So if something happened and all of a sudden it was tripping, the breaker. So, but we do see a couple of things with electricians all the time, and this is the main one. So on the electrical front, this is what you want to be mindful of. If you're in a regular 240 volt hot tub or swim spa, so I'm talking about a trainer, most likely a trainer, or it could be a Challenger, but the Challengers have one other little tricky thing that we'll talk about that next. But on the trainers and hot tubs, if it trips the breaker immediately, there's a very high percentage, and I mean like 97% probability that the electrician wired the white neutral to the bus bar rather than the bottom of the breaker. And it happens all the time. And they will always say, no, I did it right. I'm an electrician for 21 years, and no spa guy's going to tell me how to do my job. But then when we have them send a picture of it, we tell them to reverse it, and then it immediately fires right up, and then they apologize. So it happens all the time. Now, some electricians look at it and they're like, why would you do it that way? Obviously, it's not going to work. And some do it that way. We see it, literally every week. So that's the first thing. If it's tripping the breaker, that is our number one suspect, 97 times out of 100, okay? And maybe 98. And then from there on the Challengers, we actually provide you with a Siemens breaker, the 50 amp breaker, because the Challenger utilizes variable speed, it's time to eat, variable speed pumps, VSPs, and they don't like a square D spa box like from Home Depot or anything like that. The rest of the tubs don't care at all what you run them through, but the variable speed pumps are finicky, and they are very specialized pumps. They're very high end, they're very fancy, and they like a very high end Siemens breaker, which we actually provide for you so that you don't have to try to find it. And it's just a 50 amp breaker for a spa the same way, but it's higher quality.
Is that it right there? This right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like that one.
But that one's too close to the spa,
Right,
so
yes.
disregard that. Okay. Mary pointed that out.
Sorry.
So, if they don't use the Siemens and they put a regular one on there, which happens from time to time, if the electrician shows up before the hot tub or swim spa and they mount that, they're like, it's the same one, I'll just take that one and put it in my truck, and then it trips and they say, no, it's the same thing. It's not the same thing. You have to use the Siemens breaker on the Challengers every single time. On a Challenger 19, you have two bodies of water, hot tub, swim side. So the variable speed pumps are on the swim side only, so it must be used for the swim side, not the hot tub side. So on a Challenger 19, we give you one, and you actually need another one. The other one can be regular, but the VSPs do require the Siemens, and that is the swim side. So the electrician's going to actually need to double check which side is which, and your dealer could probably help with that, and we have diagrams as well. So that we see those two things all the time. Okay. So, most frequent comment, I've been doing this for 25 years. Lisa, yes, absolutely. 25 years, that's it?
What was she saying?
That's the most frequent comment. Yeah.
About the breaker?
The electricians, yeah, I'm sure. Our salesman said, hang on, here we go. Salesman stories, here we go. We've all, our salesman said it did not have to be poured concrete pad. We had a professional excavator who did a class 5 gravel pad framed with 6x6 pressure treated timbers. Marty Pearson. So, was that the question that came in?
No.
Okay. So we'll get, Marty, give me 1 second. Let's see. Lee said, we did do it in the order you said and it all worked out great. It was just tricky that he couldn't test it right away. It was a Challenger 19, so we went over the breaker requirements very closely, no problems. And when you get it, Lee, like when you get an electrician who says, you know what, I'm not sure on this, let's slow down, figure it out, do it once, do it right. Keep that guy forever, for every project ever, because he's gold. You know, the ones that just say they know everything, it's just like anything else. In any trade, if you get the person pounds their chest, I know everything, there's nothing left for me to learn. It's not who we want, all right? So that guy, Lee, you hang on to him. Or girl, if it was a girl. Okay, Marty, our salesman said it did not have to be poured concrete pad. We had a professional excavator who did a class 5 gravel pad. This actually came in as a question today. Here's what you need to know. Is the gravel going to be okay? Probably. Is it going to have a problem? Probably not. But if it does not meet the manufacturer's requirements. So this sort of goes to our question, and we need to be clear about this. It doesn't matter what anyone said other than the manual and the warranty from the manufacturer, because if something happens, those people are not going to stand up when it's time to stand up, and we were very clear about our desires. And how I want you to understand this. I don't want you to be upset that I'm telling you this. I want you to understand how we say this and why. Our customer service department has 28 going on 9 years of information stored. And these are all complaints, issues, things that have happened. Your highest likelihood of not ever having a structural issue with the swim spot in particular is on concrete, okay? No question about that. You have spot pads out there, you have gravel bases out there that have been in use for 20 years, never had a problem, the ground never moved. Of course it could work fine and statistically will be fine. But if something happens, your warranty is probably not going to be upheld with that, no matter what an engineer said, no matter what a salesperson said. That's the truth. We do the truth here. Is it going to be a problem? Probably not. I've only seen 2 cases that I know of in many years, a dozen or more years, and I'm sure it's happened more than that because we make a lot of swim spas and hot tubs, but 2 that I have, personally seen that there was an issue, and that's on thousands and thousands. So are you going to have an issue? Probably not, but you need to be aware of what happens if you do. Okay, that's all. So that's it. Okay, there's no reason to dig into that anymore and beat a dead horse. Okay.
Is that the same with pavers too, Ben?
So ultimately is the same.
Okay.
I've never had an issue with pavers. Pavers, to do them correctly, they need a crazy base, and if they're done correctly, they're not going to move.
Yeah.
So that's that. And that being said, can pavers move with frost heave even if they're done correctly? Sure they can. Can concrete split and crack with frost heave even if it's been done correctly? Of course it can. We're just working on statistics based on data that's compiled over 28 years of doing this, and that's all it is. So it's their best guess on how to protect themselves and the customer, okay? So MasterSpas is putting the information out there to protect themselves as well as the customer. It is actually in the customer's best interest. And let's be honest, people don't want to do cement for one very good reason, maybe 2 very good reasons. One is it's more of a pain in the butt.
And it's permanent.
It's, 3 reasons. It's permanent and it costs money. Okay, so everyone wants to save money. We understand that. And this, I'm gonna kind of circle back to the crane thing. People come in and they ask, hey, do I need a crane to get this back there? There's no access to the backyard. It's fenced in. And I would tell you it's cheaper to have a fence post removed and the fence taken apart, depending on what kind of fence it is, than to hire a crane. Typically, a fence guy will take a post out like nothing. Okay, that's easy. So that's usually less expensive, but a crane, if it's a large crane, I've seen them as low, different parts of the country. I've seen them for 800, 900, 1,000, up to 2,500. So, on top of,
Even more than that in some cases we've heard.
Well, some of those are giant,
Right, yeah.
non-typical, you know, like that one in Hawaii came in 4 pieces, had to be built. That one was more than 2,500. It's the largest crane on the island. That was 5,600. That is the most expensive crane I've ever come across. But it came in 4 different trucks and had to be built. It was freakishly massive. So you wouldn't expect that one to be 2,500. But I would say this, it's a big project. And if the cost of doing it versus not doing it was the difference of a crane, shouldn't really be that much of a ordeal. I mean, obviously we all want to save as much money as we can, but do it right. You know, like I could have probably, you know, manhandled my swim spa across my deck. The deck was already built and I didn't want to scratch up, you know, I had all new PVC coated decking. I didn't want to scratch that up. Crane. We craned it. No problem. Do we have the muscle to get that over? Could we have rolled it? Yeah, we could have. I'm not doing that. Crane, 2 seconds. I didn't even get to start the camera before the crane, it was already in. So fantastic. All right. Jimmy D. Hey guys, how are you, Jim? Good to see you. Okay, what's next, Mayor?
Any more questions on there?
Nope. Okay.
So just if you have your spot prepared, and again, if your dealer will ask you probably for pictures if they don't come out in person, send those in so that install day is nice and easy. And then, you know, we always get asked what someone should order ahead of time, but you do get a startup chemical kit, so that is going to get you started. So unless you wanted to order some sanitizer ahead of time so you have some, you could always do that. But you have a set of filters that are already in a hot tub or a swim spa, and those will last you a long time as long as you're keeping them clean. So there's not really anything that you absolutely need to have other than a hose, if you're using a hose long enough to get into the product, or maybe just schedule a water truck to coordinate with the electrician if you're not using your own water hose.
Yep.
And then
on the water truck, I do a water truck. It's fantastic. If you have a well, you know, and you're on a swim spa, a couple thousand gallons, 2,000 gallons, 1,200 gallons for a trainer 12. That's a big demand on your well. So I do recommend a water truck rather than, you know, beating on your well, because if you smoke out your well pump, it was very much not worth it based on what they charge for, you know, 2,000 gallons delivered.
Okay. We did have some questions that came in ahead of time. Some of them we kind of answered just in general as we were doing this, but I'll just read them real quick and we can refer them back if so. Susan from Pennsylvania, can you put a swim spa on a patio made with pavers? Ben just talked about that. Do you always have to have a crane? No. If the delivery crew can drive a pickup truck with a trailer to the foundation that you want it, and they have enough space to maneuver that, then that is typically standard delivery, and they do not need a crane.
So on this front, I do have a comment. MasterSpas dealers are very well versed in swim spa installs.
Yeah.
Most manufacturers don't sell remotely how many we do, so their dealers are much less experienced with the larger items. So depending on what you're looking at, if you're dealing with a MasterSpas dealer, they definitely do not always need a crane. Some manufacturers, their dealers they do 1 or 2 a year. They don't, you know, they're not as comfortable with them. You know, you go to a car mechanic. If you have a race car, you go to a race car mechanic. It's just like that.
And it's very true. Just to speak to what Ben is saying, I've spoken with a couple of customers recently where they were looking at smaller manufacturers who don't have as much experience as MasterSpas, and they do curbside.
Right, which is insane.
And you would need to somehow.
Actually, we're not going to name names. That even surprised me.
Me too.
And it's not the manufacturer; it's the dealership ultimately. But you know, it's a training issue maybe, or just experience. So that was actually surprising. We're not going to name names, but we were surprised.
Next question is from Michelle in Alabama. We're supposed to get our Challenger Pro 18 deep today. but the weather delayed it until next week. Still worth the wait. When we get it, we can't wait.
That is a huge kick in the ass,
Yeah.
though. So I would be, crushed.
What are the
you should be
first
feeling
steps
crushed.
we should do to get it up and running? So hopefully we answered that question, but get your electrician to wire it first.
Let's talk chemicals. Oh, go ahead.
First, and then fill it, and then Ben will just go over. She said after hooking up the electrical. So fill it.
Yep.
And then she said, love your guys' videos and what an encouragement you are to an older but trying to get back into training athlete.
Yeah,
just
you should
keep
see.
going.
You know what? To make you
Keep
feel better,
moving. It's awesome.
I'm so freaking sore. I'm like devastated from our training this week. I'm beat so badly. Keep going. We all have to keep going.
Yeah.
We have to do it the best we can. So we're with you.
And what a great way to get back into your fitness with a Challenger 18D.
It
Pro.
feels
That's
amazing to
Yeah.
be in here.
Yeah.
I was so beat up. The water temperature is perfect. I feel amazing. We're gonna hit a couple jets before we hop out.
But that is
Fantastic.
a good question, Ben. So after she fills it, electric is up. What should she do to get that water prepped?
Yep. So what you want to do, let's say it's an 18-footer. Use half a bottle of sequestering agent. Metal out, metal be gone. It'll be in your startup kit. I think, if not all, the vast majority of dealerships are going to include a chemical startup kit. Alabama, I know you are going to get a startup kit. We know them. So we know them very well. Great people. You're in very good hands. So you want to use half a bottle of sequestering agent, and then you want to clean the filters, and you don't want to put chlorine in just yet, okay? Because you want that sequestering agent, especially if it is well water. You want to get all that metal out of there before you chlorinate. And the reason is it will react. So if you have high copper content, your water will turn green. Not green like scummy green, clear but green. And that's a reaction with copper in the water with chlorine. And when you see brown, and it can be as brown as iced tea. Like my well water, if I chlorinated it and I filled the whole swim spot, it would turn brown. It would be clear. You could see all the way to the bottom, but it's brown like iced tea. And not a little brown, a lot brown. So if you're using well water, it's critical to do this. But even still, on delivered water, you don't know where it came from, so you want to run that sequestering agent, and then clean the filters out for 12 hours, 24 hours. Spray the filter, and you'll see the junk in the filters. That's all the minerals coming out of there. You want all that junk out. Then once that's done, you're still not chlorinating yet, but your pumps are pumping. Your tub is coming up to temperature. Then we're going to adjust alkalinity, A first. Then we're going to adjust pH, A, P, and then we're going to do chlorine. And you want your chlorine 1 to 3 parts per million. It's not much. You shouldn't smell it. So it's every amount of gallons obviously is different. You can go by the bottle and do the math out, or if you want to just don't put too much. Just start slow. You can always add. All right, and then you'll be in great shape. And then you're gonna shock a couple times a week, chlorinate a couple times a week, small amounts, and you'll be great. Okay, that's it. What else you got?
Okay, this is from Alfredo in Georgia. Number 1, can you run the electrical wire under the concrete and swim spa? You can. Your electrician will do that. But it is one reason why we recommend having the electrician come after. Just because he can always trench it alongside it, so it gets to the right spot. So it is kind of specific where the electric needs to go, and it can come in from any side of the swim spa. The wiring can come in from any side, although it does need to get hooked up on anything smaller than a 19-foot. It'll get hooked up behind the hot tub seats. But if you're doing a 19-foot swim spa, you'll need to have both ends. The electrician will need to have both ends wired.
50 on each end.
And so your second question is, how long of electrical wire should you leave inside the spa to allow connection? It's just another reason why I don't know the answer to that, because it's going to depend. So it's really just again, better to have the product in place, then have the electrician run the wire, so there is no flim-flam with the wiring and how much is needed. And then finally, which cover do you personally recommend? So we both personally recommend the standard cover that comes with the swim spa, the new Sunbrella material cover, and then if your install allows, we always recommend the cover lifters, so that it makes it easy for one person
Absolutely.
to open and close the cover by themselves. The roll cover can be awesome, but it can also be very challenging to open as one person. I know that for me, I would not be able to open it by myself whatsoever. And I realize that I am a small person, but a lot of times, if one person is opening the cover by themselves, the roll cover is hard. Just giving that little piece of advice.
We have a question.
Okay.
Jim, are you familiar with the Angie method? If so, any comments? So I'm very familiar with it. Basically, you have the Ben method, you have the Angie method, and then you have the official MasterSpas verbiage in the manual, which is somewhere in between. So basically, how Angie runs their water, this is St. Louis dealer, then they're great, know what they're doing. It's just a different method to get to the same place, So they're shocking after each use with a non-chlorine shock and then chlorinating once a week. And I tend to use more chlorine multiple times per week, small amounts, and then shock less often. Some of that is my schedule. So, that's what's easiest for us. I don't want a precarious perch where, if I'm not there to do it, it just immediately turns cloudy. We're gone all the time, so that's how we run it. And if we do have someone keep an eye on things, we want it turnkey, put a tablespoon of chlorine in, go away. So that's how we do it. So there is a reason for some of the things we do. And if you read in the owner's manual, it will say, what does it say? Chlorinate, 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah, and mostly I think,
Yeah.
and actually I will say that we've been doing this more when we're here, is we actually just test the water with a test strip a little bit more frequently and just adjust as needed.
Right.
So that it just kind of makes it so that all the levels are on target. And it's just a preventative measure.
And that being said, I'm fully honest about the fact that we should shock more often. Chlorine kills, shock removes. Okay, so that's the truth. We do it how we do it because of our schedule and insanity. Angie method works awesome. People love it. Some people love it the way I do it. Whatever works for you. Also important to note that geographically, in the United States, water is different. It's not one size fits all across the U.S. You have very different water, breakdowns across the U.S. So what works for someone may not work for you. So careful who you get advice from on the owner's page, because I do this and it works perfect. And then they have no idea what you're dealing with. Is your water super hard? Is the pH just like chronically low and your water in theirs is normal? Some people water comes out of so the water in this building comes out of the tap and the pH is flawless. pH and alkalinity are flawless. It's pure crap luck, okay?
Yeah.
It's not always the case. It's just the way it is. So keep that in mind too, okay? All right.
Okay, so we have a few questions from Bianca in Seattle. First one, I want to use a synthetic wood decking, Trex Aztec perhaps. I've heard about issues with chlorine staining the decking. Do you know of this, or do you recommend any specific decking brand that excels in handling chemicals and is non-slip?
So non-slip, that's the trick.
Yeah.
I have the Home Depot brand PVC coated, but it is slick for sure when it's wet around my swim spot. Nothing, it's PVC coated, no stains, no nothing. Power wash it once a year and it looks like the day we put it in. And I've got sections of the deck that were older, and then the newer stuff that's just a couple years old around the swim spa, and it all looks exactly the same. Trex, the Aztec or Aztec.
Aztec.
It could have meant Aztec is a different material. So as far as the slippery goes on any of your synthetic boards, slipperiness is probably, is that right? Yeah. Probably going to be an issue, so you want to be careful with that. Obviously.
I wonder if you can get I'm sure you can buy soft tread padding.
I bet you could.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could.
Which is like what they use similar material inside the swim spa
Right.
for the non-slip. I mean, we've seen it. You see it in boats and marinas all the time.
Yeah,
so
for that reason.
probably you can look it up and purchase
there
that.
could be something with texture in it. I feel like some of the Trex deck has a little texture to it, more so than the straight PVC coating. I didn't go with that, but just check it out. But keep in mind, anything that's plastic, when it's wet, is gonna be slippery.
And
so
then
you want to be careful.
Bianca, she asked a question about the gravel in the pit, and just Ben already went through all
Yep.
of that, just in terms of the official recommendation.
That was the one with the engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the engineer. I mean, is it structurally going to hold? Of course it is. Is the engineer going to guarantee that Frost Heave doesn't move it and cause a problem with the shell, and then fight for you if the warranty is voided? No, they're not. Ultimately, it comes down to the manufacturer's warranty, and again, that is just based on years of seeing what works the best statistically. Okay, so are you going to have a problem? Probably not. Could you? Maybe. If you do, is it a problem? Yeah, it is. All right. Patricia said, FYI, I recommend an aquarium net is needed if your spa is outside. Those bugs love to swim too. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And then, Bianca, typically your installers will not touch electric.
Yep.
So, and I'm pretty sure in Seattle their delivery crew doesn't.
Yeah, they shouldn't. They should
Yeah,
not touch it.
legally, unless it's a certified electrician, they're not they don't have the liability.
Right. Legally,
There's
a
a liability
homeowner
with
can
that.
do it legally, but the installers of the swim spa cannot unless they're a licensed electrician also.
And I mean, just keep in mind that depending on the pressure of your hose, it is going to take several hours to fill a swim spa. So a delivery crew probably is going to go from your delivery to another one, and they just don't have hours to
Yeah,
sit
they
there
can't-
and
they
wait for
can't
it to
wait.
get powered up and filled and all of
For
that.
sure.
So, and then her last part of the question, she doesn't have a full 3 feet all the way around the swim spa. The swim spa jet side will be up against the far end of the vault, leaving the full 2 feet for panel A. A service tech could literally use the spa around as a bench. I'm feeling okay about it. That would be a question that you should probably send pictures to the dealer.
Yeah.
To make sure, because again, just going back to the manual and MasterSpas official recommendation is to have 3 feet of access all the way around, so that a person could get down and walk to all 4 sides, because they'll need to unscrew the cabinets all the way down to the basically ground level. So it may be something that you need to send some pictures and some info to the dealer specifically and the service manager there.
See what they have to say about it.
So
Right on.
that's all the questions that we got, and it's just perfect timing.
We are 43. That's right. Okay. If you have more questions and you hop on, post them in there, and we will always follow up. You can also send them in on a message, and you can just tag on the top, for Ben and Mary, because MasterSpas gets a lot of messages,
Yeah.
so you have to definitely say it's for us, and we will get back to you. And we do check those personally, so it's really cool. And that's it. We will see you in
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I think 5 plus 14 is 19. I think it's the 19th.
19th.
June 19th. So really getting into summertime now. So that's really exciting. It's a really awesome time to be using your swim spas and exercising in there, but also just kind of hanging out in the sun, floating around, and having fun too. So we'll see everybody in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Be good, everyone.
Have a good night.
All right. Enjoy. Thanks for stopping by.